This is the solution to the SHM basic mass on a spring 8-mark question. And as often we do, we start with the definition of SHM. So acceleration is proportional to the displacement from the equilibrium position and always directed towards the equilibrium position. By the time you finish these questions, that should be engraved on your mind. Make sure that it is. So, a mass on a spring is displaced 0.036 meters vertically downwards from its equilibrium position. It is then released. As it passes upwards through the equilibrium position, a clock is started. So x equals 0 when t equals 0. The mass takes 7.60 seconds to perform 20 cycles of its oscillation. Assuming the motion is simple harmonic, it can be described by that equation where x is the displacement in the upward direction and t the time since the clock was started. What is x naught in this case? Well, x naught, given that up is positive and x initially is negative, is minus 0.036 meters. Use the equation to calculate the displacement when t equals 0. Well, we're going to start with our equation and fill in the numbers nice and carefully. So we have x equals x naught sine 2 pi ft. So we have x equals minus 0.036 sine 2 pi times, oh sorry, I haven't worked out the frequency yet, so my apologies for that. It says x naught and the frequency. Well, the frequency, of course, we have 7.6 seconds for 20 oscillations. That gives me the period, which is 1 over the frequency, and our frequency then 2.63 hertz. So my apologies for not having done that earlier. And then we have 2.63 in there. So, and the time is 1 second. So, let's make that look right. And so we end up with x as 0.026. Now, one thing to remember here, you're taking the sine of an angle in radians, so make sure your calculator is in radians. And remember that minus sign there, because that will mean that x ends up being positive. Final part of the question then, it says in practice it's not a perfect model of, SHM is not a perfect model of the motion of the mass. Why not? Well, the thing we haven't considered is damping by air resistance. Energy will be lost as a consequence of the air resistance. So there it is.